1.46 million. That's how much the average American thinks they need to retire. But a couple named Philly and the Brain were able to retire at 50 years old with just $400,000.
Damn!
So today, I want to break down the secrets they use to retire on seemingly so little, and the 2 lethal early retirement weapons you can use as well. All right, let's jump into the first big question. How does their $400,000 portfolio actually look like? So Philly and the Brain split their $400,000 portfolio into 3 different sections: the dividend income, the rental property income, and the stock market index funds. But you know what? Something really interesting they have mentioned in their videos is that they still have some mortgage left on their rental properties. And you know, that makes me really curious about how they're able to manage their monthly cash flow. Because if you think about it, having 3 different asset classes actually complicates the drawdown strategy. Like, for example, how much income is coming in from their dividend portfolio, and how much of that is from their rental properties, and how much of it is from their index funds. Because if we apply the 4.7% rule to the $400,000 portfolio, that will give them around $18,800 a year, which is around $1,566 a month. And that doesn't add up to their $2,000 monthly budget. Something ain't right. And you know what? I might have an answer to this question. This is based off of what they have offered in their videos. But to answer this, we actually first have to address probably the biggest concern people have while watching this video right now. Like, what is their secret weapon that allows them to retire on so little in the first place? And well, let's hear from them.
We didn't retire because we had the most money.
We retired because we chose a different path.
Let me explain. To put it simply, the different path they took involves 2 secret weapons: international geoarbitrage and slow travel. So international geoarbitrage is when someone intentionally moves to a lower cost of living country. So this way their overall expenses drop dramatically. For example, in the book Quit Like a Millionaire, Christy Shen and Bryce Leung explained that they actually struggle to live a comfortable life on $60,000 to $80,000 a year in Toronto. But through international geoarbitrage, they were able to live an even better lifestyle, like lying on the beach, but your portfolio still pays you money kind of lifestyle. And you know how much that cost? It cost them $40,000 a year. Excuse me for a moment while I go have a stroke. And just like Christy and Bryce, Philly and the Brain also chose Thailand and Vietnam as their early retirement destinations. Also, like this video if you have been scheming about your 9-to-5 escape plan since birth, like me. Been scheming and proud, you know what I'm talking about? Now, here is where the second strategy comes in. When you combine international geoarbitrage with slow travel, that's how they're able to live on about $2,000 a month. Slow travel basically means staying in one place for a month or longer instead of hopping between cities every few days. And longer stays usually come with big housing discounts. For example, a lot of hostels or Airbnb listings give major discounts if you're able to stay for 1 week or even a full month. And Philly and the Brain even mentioned that
we later realized we were in a high tourist area. With a little more networking and researching, we could have found an equally nice apartment in great locations for like $600 to $800 a month. But that's a lesson for next time.
Holy crap! That's cheaper than my dental hygiene license. Another huge benefit of slow travel is that you get to meet the locals and the expats who already live there. And these people are usually the experts at finding the best deals, the best neighborhoods, and also the best food for cheap. They're usually the Muppets that say, "Come to the dark side. We have cookies." By the way, subscribe if you want more content about how to retire in your 30s or 40s. Now, if you're curious about how Philly and the Brain actually split up their $2,000 monthly budget, their plan is pretty simple. They usually allocate $1,000 for housing and $1,000 for everything else. And they explain that housing is typically the biggest expense. But the reason the rest of the budget can stay around $1,000 is because the other two major spending categories, transportation and food, are extremely cheap in Thailand and Vietnam. But there are actually a few tips and tricks to prevent you from falling into touristy traps. So for transportation, the two often use Grab, which is basically like Asian Uber. So a ride usually costs around $2 to $5. But if you use local transportation, it gets even crazier. For example, they mentioned something called the Bat Bus, which costs about 30 cents per ride. Nani the fuck who? Like, my piece of candy from 7-Eleven costs more than that. The second big expense category is food. And there's also a trick to eating cheaply in Thailand and Vietnam as well. For example, if you are in a mall, the top floors are usually the luxury restaurants, where meals can cost around 15 to 30 or even more. But if you walk to the lower floors, that is usually where the locals like to eat. And there you'll be able to find meals around $2 to $8. And you know what? If you stay somewhere long term, your accommodation usually have a kitchen as well, which means that you can cook with local groceries and thereby reducing your food costs even more. Okay, I'm gonna be totally transparent with you guys. Philly and the Brain actually later on said in one of their videos that they prefer a slightly higher budget of $2,250 a month.
We decided to increase our budget by $250 a month to give us more flexibility for activities and those unexpected costs.
Which I was so happy that the Brain said we can increase the budget because I'm always hungry, y'all.
And their biggest reason for wanting these is that they want their slow travel experience to be fun and fulfilling. So they actually didn't want to miss out on all of these adventures by staying cooped up inside their rooms just so that they can save an extra $250. But here is the twist that had me go, wait a minute. Because even with all of these strategies, the math still doesn't fully add up. Because remember, the 4.7% of $400,000 is still $1,566 a month. So where is the rest of the money coming from? Let's talk about it. Okay, I want to be super clear that what I am about to say is only based on the information that they have shared in their videos. And since they haven't publicly shared their exact asset allocation, we don't know exactly how much income each investment is producing. But we can make some educated guesses. So first, the 4.7% rule is usually applied to a portfolio made up entirely of stock market index funds. But Philly and the Brain also have dividend investments and rental properties, which may produce a higher cash flow. Second, and this is actually really cool, they run 3 different YouTube channels. And on their channels, they have affiliate links, digital courses, memberships, and sponsorships. So you know what? It's actually very possible that these income streams are helping them to fill the gap between what their portfolio produces and their $2,250 monthly budget. Like legit, looking at their content really makes me wish I could interview them. Like for example, how exactly is their portfolio split? How much income is from their rental properties versus their investments? And how much supplementary income is coming in from their digital products? I'm so curious! Cause I think their story could help out a lot of people understand what early retirement actually looks like in real life. So let me know if you want to see me interview early retirees like them. I would love to do that. So let me know in the comments. And in the meantime, check out this playlist for a step-by-step guide on how to retire in your 30s or 40s. Alright, I cast dimensional travel magic through my YouTube portal. Ha! Alright, see you in the next one. Bye!